All right, so we stop at last week, we have gone through the different types of zakat, which are zakat fitrah and also zakat on wealth, but we only covered zakat on gold, and also issues regarding zakat on gold, and then we have zakat on livestock. All right, so I've shown you this table before. So here these are actually three categories of wealth. So for example, we have gold and investment, money in the form of cash, and also shares. So for today, I will continue with money and also shares, because as you can see from this table, these are actually fall under the same category. All right, which means we have to add everything or every wealth that you have in the form of gold, money, and also shares. And if we have some adjustment to be done, then we have to do the adjustment, and then we get the total and we compare with the nisab. If it is more than the nisab amount, then that is the amount of zakat that you have to pay, and you have to multiply by 2.5%. But as I told you last week, we will look at the different types of wealth one by one. Right, so we have done zakat on gold, and then the price of gold as at 22nd May. Also issues on zakat on gold. All right, so for today we're going to look at zakat on money. I remember last week someone asked about how do we actually calculate the zakat on money, because we use the price of gold, or we use the nisab according to the weight of gold. All right, so when we look at zakat on money, what we can see here is that okay, so as we all know, money, it has intrinsic and also fiat money, and the purchasing power is just like gold, right? And then, so zakat rules regarding money will be based on zakat rules for gold, which is the non-jewelry part. So if you still remember, kita ada dua for zakat on gold, jewelry and also non-jewelry. So for zakat on money, we follow the non-jewelry part, which is the nisab would be 85 gram. Right, so the nisab would be 85 gram. So the rate of zakat is again, it's the same, 2.5%. All right, so I will take you to look at both when we have savings in conventional accounts. So when we talk about zakat on money, we're talking about zakat on our savings. Tak kisahlah simpan dekat bank ke simpan bawah bantal ke. Right, so it is still considered as zakat on money, which is on savings. Alright, so the first one, saving in conventional account. So as we all know, kita ada conventional account yang memberi kita interest, and also the wadiah account which give us hibah or profit. Right, so if we have saving in conventional accounts, this is actually the zakat calculation for conventional accounts. It must exclude any interest, okay, or non-permissible element. I think English ni salah lah. Is that impermissible? It is a non-permissible, non-permissible. Example of a saving transaction during a year, okay, it can be this. All right, so we have the opening balance of 22,000. All right, and then adalah transaction during the year, blah blah blah. Sampai the end of the year, we have 19,600. Okay, but along the way, the bank gives us interest of 200 ringgit. Right, so I bracket here interest, which is so the final balance would be 19,600. All right, in this case, assuming that the nisab for the house is 14,865. Right, so ini nisab yang saya share dekat sini dulu lah, 14,865. But if we look at the final balance of this amount, which is 19,600, definitely is more than the nisab. All right, again, the nisab here is actually coming from the 85 grams of gold. Right, so I didn't show you how much is the price of gold for 1 gram. So we assume that for 85 grams, the amount or the price of gold is 14,865, and the savings is actually more than 14,865. Okay, but we must also exclude the non-permissible element, which is the interest. So this is our calculation, final calculation. So this is the nisab 14,865. So the last balance, we must deduct the interest. This is the non-permissible amount, which gives us 19,400. So multiply by 2.5%. So that is the zakat amount that we have to pay, which is 485, right? So here, if you remember, kita juga ada the different rate for hijrah year, which is 2.577. But to ease the calculation of zakat, so if you go to websites, which for example Zakat Selangor and Zakat Perak, they still use 2.5%. So complicated kan, 2.57 jadi banyak. So most states still stick to 2.5%. Alright, but for zakat on money, this total must be combined with other asset. Remember the table tadi, dia mesti combine dengan gold, money, shares and also kalau ada takaful nanti So here kita assume that orang ni dia ada savings je. That is why dia terus darab dengan 2.5%. Otherwise, we have to add all the wealth within the same category, then compare with nisab. Okay, so nampak kat sini example above is in case of the person has no other asset based on gold nisab. Okay, alright, what about savings in Islamic account? Wadi'ah account. So the main difference between conventional Islamic accounts is the treatment of interest. So for conventional account, they call it interest. So they bagi return in the form of interest. But for an Islamic account, the return is actually in form of profit or kita kata profit sharing or hibah lah. Right, so under Islamic account, hibah is permissible and it has to be included because this is considered as money or gift received from the bank. So for example, here we have same amount, opening balance of 22,000, certain transactions during the year, and this is the final figure, 19,600 ringgit. But the difference is that in this portion, so the first example tadi, 200 ni is the interest. So here, this is an Islamic account, the 200 is the hibah. Right, so what we have to do is we don't have to deduct this 200 because hibah is permissible. So it still be 19,600. So we still use the same nisab amount, 14,856. The last balance is 9,600, which is more than 14,856. So darab dengan 2.5%, this would be the zakat amount. Any questions so far? Can you all follow? Boleh So we just follow the nisab of 85 gram of gold. Very straightforward. It's just that if we have savings in conventional account, the interest portion tu kena deduct. What about if we have multiple savings? Conventional ada, Islamic ada, and we have more than one account. Tadi nampak very simple kan? Saya guna satu account je. So in real life, you might have more than one account. So what if you have multiple savings? Right, a standard haul for all accounts has to be determined. Okay, kalau dulu dia kira the lowest amount, but I think now kebanyakan state dia dah tukar, dia tak ambil the lowest amount during the year, dia cuma ambil the ending balance je, senang kita nak tengok. So the last balance from various accounts, contohnya account 1 ada 4,000, account 2 1,000, account 3 10,000, so total amount is 15,000. So kita compare balik, we use the same nisab amount juga 14,000 something tadi. So tambah je lah, dia sama macam tadi lah, you take the last balance. So we get 15,000. Again, to get the last balance ni, if it is a conventional account, tolak the interest portion. If it is an Islamic account, ada hibah, then tak apa, tambahkan je semua. So for example here, we have a total of 15,000 multiplied by 2.5%, which is 375. Alright, what I have here is nak bagi senang hidup kita. Alright, the lembaga zakat kebanyakan negeri, I take this one from Majlis Agama Islam yang Adab Melayu Perak. Okay, dia dah bagi table tau. Kadar nisab wang simpanan dan perniagaan. So tak payah nak fikir alamak 1 gram emas ni berapa ringgit nak kena darab dengan 85 kan. Because we know for zakat on money, it must be equivalent to 20 misqal emas or bersamaan 85 gram of gold. Alright, so remember for zakat on money and zakat on business ni, kita follow nisab gold not won. Okay, gold yang kita simpan which is 85 gram. So the treat money sama macam gold yang money yang kita simpan, dia treat sama dengan gold yang kita simpan which is equivalent to 85 gram of gold. But to make our life easier and simpler, most of the states has actually given or prepared a table for us for the nisab on for zakat on money. So for example here, macam now ini saya ambil last week belum ada lagi untuk Mei, so dia cukup satu bulan tu cukup haul lah baru dia letak the nisab tu. Okay, so as at April this year, this is 2021 so you can see here from year 2000 nisab dia rendah je because harga emas agak low so now makin tinggi harga gold, nampak the nisab makin tinggi until now. Macam last year lagi tinggi 2020 during April ni, lepas raya ni 20,000. I think April last year masih lagi puasa kan, dekat nak raya. So you see the trend dia dekat sini, April and May harga dia memang tinggi so last year lagi tinggi, nampak nisab dia 20. So here untuk 2021 April 19,803.92. So if you have savings in multiple accounts, you add the total, dia mesti cukup hal lah. Ini mesti duit yang simpan daripada tahun lepas, bukan daripada duit yang sekarang baru ada duit tu you want to pay zakat. Atau if you have now, you have to pay cukup 1 tahun lah. If you want to use April, tunggulah sampai March tahun depan mesti cukup hal lah for the nisab tu. So here in Perak, as at April, the nisab for money is 19,803.92. Okay, so ni amount semua tak keluar lagi, kita tak tahu, we don't know. Yang ni saya tahu tu kenapa tak ada figure kat sini August ni missing. Alright, issues pertaining to zakat on money. Alright, so most of us, I'm sure, ada saving in tabung haji. Alright, the difference between tabung haji dengan bank ni, tabung haji has already paid zakat on behalf of the depositor, which means the depositor don't have to pay zakat based on savings on tabung haji. Okay, so whatever amount that you save in tabung haji do not have to pay zakat. Kita tak perlu kira macam kita kira yang savings account tadi However, savings in tabung haji must be included during nisab evaluation. Tak payah bayar zakat, but kita nak kira nisab sekarang kan, kita nak kira how much zakat that we have to pay. So the saving in tabung haji tu kena masuk juga dalam zakat assessment. Right? So if kita masukkan the amount of the amount of savings in tabung haji and the nisab is exceed the nisab amount, the total exceed the nisab amount, then you have to pay zakat. Tapi zakat yang nak bayar tu tak termasuk dengan savings in tabung haji. Boleh faham tak? Apa belit-belit pula? Right, but if you have multiple savings, totalkan all the savings je nak dapat satu figure. And if you have saving in tabung haji, totalkan juga to get the total amount tu. Let's say total amount tu lebih daripada nisab, then you have to pay. Tapi zakat yang kena bayar tu macam dekat sini je lah. So let's say you have saving in tabung haji tabung haji dah bayar zakat. Saving in other places ni lah, multiple banks tadi lah kan, ada dekat bank Islami, bank public bank semua tu, tambahkan. So kita dapat total 15,000. Kita compare with nisab. So in this case tadi kita guna nisab yang tadi lah, 14,000 tadi yang saya buat example mula-mula tu. So our nisab here is 14,856. Nampak 15,000 termasuk tabung haji is more than nisab amount. Which means whatever amount here yang lebih daripada nisab kena bayar zakat. Tapi nampak the zakat amount dia calculate based on 10,000. Yang ni je. Tabung haji tak payah. So tabung haji dah bayar zakat dah. Cuma nak kira nisab je kita tambahkan dengan amount in tabung haji. Boleh Wafiq tolong
Tak ada, saya macam loading sikit.
Okay. So boleh So for tabung haji, we don't have to, macam tadi kan, kita total semua, kita ambil total 15,000, kita dah nak dengan 2.5 But for tabung haji tak perlu. Tabung haji kita tambahkan je untuk dapat nisab ni, to compare with, to dapat total, to compare with nisab. If it is more, then kena bayar zakat. Tapi tak termasuk yang amount tabung haji tu. Dia hanya kira must be included ni during nisab evaluation sahaja. Right? What about when parents keep their money in child account? Depends on the intention. If the intention is for gift, the money belong to the child and zakat assessment is made based on the ownership of individual child. If the intention is for nominee, untuk simpankan je, the real owner is the parents, so parents must include the money in their zakat assessment. Alright, what about imposing two zakat on one asset? Okay, this is not advisable lah. For example, this is actually against the teaching that there is no double payment for zakat. Alright, so during zakat on money calculation, any money that has been paid for zakat on income, it must be deducted. Right, for example, but this is quite tricky to calculate. So for example, at the end of the house, cukup 1 tahun, total dalam saving account ada 25,000. we wouldn't know 25,000 ni might come from last year. Last year kita dah bayar zakat dah untuk amount dalam kita saving ni, kita dah bayar last year. But the same figure tu kita bawa pula ke this year. Kita kira lagi di sum. Because kita ambil the final balance kan. Kita ambil final balance. So that amount must somehow akan termasuk jugalah amount yang last year. So inclusive of current year income ataupun termasuk dengan this year punya. So let's say you want to pay zakat for year 2021 Tapi dalam year 2021 ni, dalam amount tu dah termasuk nak bayar zakat for 2020. Okay, so tapi dalam account sekarang ni dah ada yang 2021. Okay, so whatever amount yang ada for current year ni must be deducted. But it's quite tricky lah because sekarang kita kata zakat is imposed on the balance which is 20,000. Kita nak bayar ikut how lah. Let's say you want to pay for 2020. Kita hanya nak amount yang berlaku ataupun whatever you have or whatever you save in year 2020 only, not including year 2021. But if let's say you have one account, semua saving, semua business semua masuk dekat situ, so you don't know kan, ini duit bila ni daripada 2 tahun lepas dah ada dalam tu So kalau ikut by right, there is no to zakat on one asset. So kena exclude, kita tengok yang betul-betul this year sahaja. So if let's say it is a salary, then senang lah, kira je lah kan bulan-bulan tu berapa. So yang tinggal dalam account tu, ambil lah the final balance based on current year ataupun based on year yang kita nak bayar zakat tu. That is why dia masuk dalam issue. Alright, the next one is zakat on shares. Okay, ini if you all purchase shares, okay, so saya tak perlu explain lah what is shares. Dah belajar banyak subjek dah about shares ni. We have common stock, preferred stock semua tu. All the warrant option semua tu lah the one that you purchase through capital market ni. So zakat on share will not be imposed on the investor if the company has already paid zakat on business. So certain company yang syariah approved ni biasanya ataupun if the company is owned by Muslim, so syariah approved tak semestinya owned by Muslim So those company owned by Muslim biasanya dia dah bayar zakat on business. In that case, the holder of the shares do not have to pay zakat on shares. Okay, tapi if tak bayar, then the shareholder have to pay zakat sendirilah, zakat on shares. So ni I share with you Fatwa Selangor, zakat on shares calculated based on the ruling for trade goods, which that is the value at the end of how. Nampak? Untuk zakat on share tadi kalau money, kita follow zakat on gold. Kita follow harga gold yang, kita follow berat gold yang tak pakai tu, non-jewelry. But for shares, kita tak ikut harga gold. Kita ikut harga trade goods, harga barang, which is harga shares tu sendiri. So basically there are two main types of shares, zakat on non-listed share and also listed share. Right, so when we talk about non-listed shares, we are talking about saham-saham koperasi, saham syarikat sendirian berhad, all those non-listed on any official exchange. So normally private companies lah dan koperasi kan, kalau ada join koperasi, macam-macam koperasi kita ada so you will be getting share certificate and also dividend. Right, so ini yang termasuk dalam zakat on non-listed share. So again, the business have to pay zakat at company level. Kalau dia bayar, the shareholders do not have to pay zakat anymore. Just like tabung haji lah, kita simpan dekat tabung haji already pay zakat for the depositor, so the depositor do not have to pay zakat based on savings in their tabung haji. Okay. If the company did not pay zakat on business, that's why I highlighted here, if the company did not pay zakat on business, it is compulsory on the shareholder to pay the zakat due on his share. So the calculation is based on the portion of individual ownership in the company. Alright, so for example, the zakatable asset for the company, alright, the zakatable asset ni maksudnya ini bukan profit dia Ini ialah current asset dia minus dengan current liability. Ataupun kita kata this is the net current asset. 100,000 ni sebab tu dia letak kat sini zakatable asset for the company net current asset. So kita tengok later when we have zakat on business Alright, so 100,000 ni terus dah nak dengan 2.5%. So for example, the company has to pay 2,500 ringgit for zakat. So let's say we own 20% of these shares. So 20% ni lah kita kena bayar zakat dia. Alright, so here assuming the company did not pay zakat on its business, right? Okay, what about zakat on listed shares? So on listed share macam tadi lah ada bonus issue, right issue semua ni lah unit trust preference share, bla bla bla. Banyak lah. Alright, so this is how Nampak tak? Untuk zakat on shares ni, amount dia kita terus ambil je amount dekat sini. Dia tak ada ikut harga nisab gold. Tak ada. For shares, dia tak follow nisab gold. Dia follow harga share tu sendiri. And for listed share, sama juga. Dia tak ada follow nisab gold. Dia follow market value. Okay, harga share tu sendiri. Market value at whole completion and net profit realized during the current haul times 2.5%. Ini pun datang dari Fatwa Selangor. So some states, kalau tengok kat sini, this is how Selangor calculate their zakat on shares. Some state dia guna lowest value. So KL, Penang, Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, lowest value. During the haul tu, nampak yang ni dia guna market value, market value at haul completion. Katakanlah kita punya haul habis at 31 December. Kita ambil calendar year terus senang. So at 31 December, dia ambil market value as at 31st December. Tapi untuk other state ni, dia ambil lowest value. Dia kata, okay, dalam masa setahun tu, harga share tu paling rendah berapa? Ambil harga yang paling rendah. Alright, so this is, I take this, I think from Lembaga Zakat Selangor. So this is how we calculate if you have a lot of shares, different types of share, nampak? Dia ada saham-saham di bursa, okay. Untung yang ditunaikan, this is realized profit, dia jual, dia beli and then dia jual, so the profit is 80,000. Unit trust, exchange traded fund, real estate investment, lain-lain pelaburan di luar negara, investment in foreign capital market. Jumlahkanlah semua ni. So the price here is actually based on market value at the completion of how. So it is very very good kalau you tengok the website ni, dia sangat clear. So dia bagi tahu kita lah apa price yang dia ambil ni is based on apa. Alright, so less brokerage cost, of course ada. If you use, memang kita jual beli saham, you will have to pay the brokerage cost ni. Dividend from non-syariah compliant investments. If let's say the investment ni termasuk non-syariah compliant investment, ini kena buat adjustment, have to take out the amount 30,000. Capital appreciation of non-syariah compliant investment, kalau ada juga peningkatan modal, dia kata. So these are the adjustment, and then ini total ni minus the adjustment ni, so the value of shares that subject to zakat is 464,500. So again, dia tak ada ikut harga gold ke apa, terus ambil je 464,500 ni multiply by 2.5%, so the zakat amount would be 11,610 ringgit. Okay, some we do not know kan, company ni dia bayar zakat ke tak. Kalau tak tahu, senang you bayar je lah. If you don't know. So kita kira macam ni lah, 465 times 22.5%. So this is the amount of zakat that we have to pay. But remember, ini kalau ada saham sahaja. Jangan lupa kita ada gold, kita ada money kan. So kena total semua dulu baru darab dengan 2.5% ni. Kalau ada semualah. Alright, certain issues on zakat on shares. First of all, what about share ownership with restriction? Alright, so you know sometimes ada kita pergi beli ASB through Maybank loan. Nampak, you beli saham tapi menggunakan loan. So there is a restriction of transaction. Ataupun you purchase shares, company tu suspended. Tak ada transaction during the year, dia masuk under kategori PN4, company yang bermasalah lah, yang almost nak bankrupt ni, dia duduk dalam satu kategori, so transaction dia suspended, dia tak ada transaction for that particular year atau for that particular month, so or any other reason that makes the owner incapable to spend, sell, give out the asset own. Right, remember if you go back to the conditions to pay zakat ni, mesti ada full ownership. Sekarang ni partial sebab ada restriction. So the zakatability status dia, the investment portfolio ni is deemed incomplete. Dia bukan full ownership, dia partial je. So zakat will be exempted. Alright, what about investment in non-syariah compliant shares? Tak payah bayar zakat juga. So the portion, if you want to pay zakat based on this investment, the payment tu kita tak kata zakat lah. That will be called as charity. Right, remember all the income or wealth yang dapat tu mesti from halal sources. So kalau non-syariah compliant shares, only the initial capital is zakatable. Alright, ataupun duit tu kita kira zakatable based on zakat on money lah. Maknanya you ada duit tu so kita kira itu ialah zakat on money So if you need more details ni, ini pun you ada belajar I suppose about SC Islamic Capital Market Guideline on Syariah punya classification ni. So if you need details then you can refer to SC lah. SC ada Islamic Capital Market Guideline dia. Alright, what about when employees receive employee share option scheme from the employer? Right, employer dia bagi, okay, saya bagi awak saham company kita, let's say you work with Petronas katakan, okay, dia kata you can purchase Petronas shares at discount. Okay, dia bagi, so kita boleh beli dengan harga yang murah lah, biasanya macam tu. So it's either share bought in cash or share bought through loan. So kalau share bought in cash, dia calculation akan sama dengan calculation on zakat on shares. If bought on loan, so the loan installment will be deducted. Right, katakan beli dengan menggunakan loan, so tolaklah the loan amount tu untuk dapat the price ataupun the value of the share. Alright, ini semua masih lagi dalam same kategori, same dalam same table tadi. Kita ada zakat on gold, zakat on money, now zakat on takaful product. Alright, so for takaful product ini pun saya tak ada nak explain into detail what is general takaful, what is family takaful. By now you should understand better. General takaful ni is about all the takaful about motor vehicle, accident, health, semua masuk dalam general takaful lah. And all these contributions are not zakatable. Okay. Yang kena zakat is only family takaful, because the family takaful ni the concept dia macam savings kan. So kita bayar contribution, kita kata assume itu ialah saving, because we do not know bila kita nak berlaku all the God forbid lah, all the musibah-musibah yang kita bayar tu, death, TPD, and plus all the riders yang ada dekat family takaful ni. But for general takaful kita tahu kita bayar, and then the contribution is not zakatable. The family takaful, yes, sebab dia under principle zakat on money. Alright. So how do we calculate family takaful ataupun zakat on takaful product ni? Kita tengok based on withdrawal cash value. Okay. So every year kita ada for this biasanya according to a provider, they will actually give a statement. So every year kita boleh nampak lah, based on our contribution, how much is our withdrawal cash value. So that would be the basis for our calculation on zakat on takaful product. Okay. So ini kita cerita if the policy is still ada, policy kita tak cancel, which means every year kita akan ada certain amount of cash value. We use that cash value as a basis to pay zakat. If the policy is cancelled, which means if you cancel the policy, you dapat semua duit kan? So zakat would be on the whole amount of surrender value. Okay. Ini hanya untuk family takaful. For conventional insurance, the profit should not be taken and should be channeled to Baitul Mal or for public benefit. Okay, dia jadi charity lah, dia bukan jadi zakat. Alright, so how do we actually calculate zakat on takaful product? Alright, the formula here is sum of saving minus the minimum cash value to be retained in policy. Ini memang ada dalam statement lah, this one. The calculation dia memang akan ada dalam statement. Cuma kita nak, we are interested in withdrawal cash value. So how do we calculate the zakat? So it would be withdrawal cash value multiplied by 2.5%. Can you give me 1 minute? Saya kena sign in masuk dalam satu training ni sekejap. Okay. Right, so again about the family takaful, we will take the withdrawal cash value multiplied by 2.5%. All right, so for this cash withdrawal cash value ni, again we have to compare with nisab. Ini assuming that you tak ada benda lain lah, which is quite tak logik lah kan. So if you have takaful, for sure you will have money or kita kata savings or maybe gold. But semua ni because they belong under the same category, so we have to compare with nisab. Then the calculation ni kalau macam ni must be combined with other asset based on gold. Alright, again certain issues regarding zakat on takaful. For example, claim for general and family takaful. What if we already claim or we get the cash benefit from claim? So daily allowance, compensation on death or permanent disablement kalau dapat the claim tu. So based on existing zakat ruling ni, zakat on income imposed on any type of income including employment related benefit. Ini semua ni is the form of gift and subject to zakat. So you might say that, okay, ini every year kita dah bayar zakat based on the cash withdrawal amount kan. And then when you claim, you dapat the benefit, have to pay zakat again. Memang the concept dia macam tu lah because it is a form of gift. Dia kira the concept ni lah dia kata concept is from as a gift and subject to zakat. So early surrender of family takaful plan. What if kita belum cukup belum sampai maturity date, we want to surrender. When you surrender, kita dapat certain amount of cash juga. Right? So bila surrender, dia kata the treatment sama dengan money withdrawal in zakat on money. Okay? Kalau surrender dapat cash, alright, surrender, you get the cash, so it is zakatable upon receiving the money. Okay. Dapat duit, you spend, dikira duit tu habis. Dapat duit, you still simpan, whatever, let's say you dapat 1 million, you simpan je dekat bank, duit 1 million tu, itu dikira zakat on money. But if you get 1 million, you spend habis semua, dikira money consider finish tu dah dikira consume lah. Whatever you consume, tak perlu bayar zakat. Sekarang the konsep dia senang je, apa yang kita simpan, yang kita guna tak kira, yang kita simpan tu akan kita kena bayar zakat. What about maturity of takaful plan? Okay, so for takaful ni dia ada banyak condition macam saya kata tadi lah. Satu, the first thing is that every year cukup je haul kena bayar zakat based on withdrawal cash value. That's one condition. Secondly, when we claim, you get the cash benefits subject to zakat juga. Number two, early surrender. Early surrender dapat duit simpan tempat lain kena bayar zakat. Tapi kalau dapat duit and spend tak adalah. And then the plan matured. Okay, so ni sampai let's say you ambil sampai umur 70, so insyaAllah boleh hidup sampai umur 70, so your takaful plan mature. So bila takaful plan tu mature, you will get the amount dapat duit juga. So the money ni yang dapat bila takaful tu mature is not obliged to pay zakat. Sebab apa? You go back to the concept that kita dah bayar every year tadi. Right, bila money tu kita simpan, we pay every year untuk zakat on takaful. So bila the plan to mature, you dapat the money and then do not have to pay zakat. Kecuali selama-lama takaful tu ada dekat dalam tu for 20-30 years tu, you never pay zakat. Once the takaful tu mature, kira lah balik back date. But if you already pay zakat based on the withdrawal cash value tu, then bila the plan matures, tak perlulah kira zakat lagi. Alright, and also zakat on business. Again, same kategori macam yang tadi conditions to pay zakat on business ni ada condition dia lah. First of all must be Muslim. The owner must be Muslim. For a non-Muslim business, you do not obliged to pay zakat. A free person. Okay, the wealth must be from halal sources, which means activities prohibited against Islam cannot be included in the calculation. Nisab at the end of the haul, which is 2.5% or equivalent to 85 grams of gold. Nampak tak? So if you list down, nanti I will share with you the summary. Ada amount yang kita guna harga gold. Macam shares kita tak ikut harga gold. Share kita ikut harga saham tu. Macam takaful tadi, kita tak ikut harga gold, kita ikut harga takaful tu. Walaupun dia duduk dalam same kategori. Meet the how, mesti cukup how, cukup 1 tahun. Must be from productive property, for example cash, shares, bonds, ending inventory. Active ataupun kita kata produktif lah. The property that will give us profit. And the business must be fully owned at the end of how. So the basic calculation dia, again saya kata tadi lah, kita hanya ambil net current asset. So nampak ni semua current asset, cash, stocks, debtors, minus creditors. Fixed asset kita tak masukkan, kita ambil yang current portion je. Sebab current portion yang kita kata produktif kan. Right, so this is the formula. Zakat payable net current asset. So how to compute net current asset? Senang je, ambil zakat current asset minus dengan current liability. So cash, stocks, debtors ini ialah current asset kita. Current liability biasanya creditor sahaja. Okay. But due to the different treatment between zakat and financial reporting, certain items need to be adjusted. So we can say that it can be net current asset from financial reporting, tapi there will be some adjustment. Right, untuk zakat on business saya tak adalah nak tunjuk terlalu detail just to show you this is for small business. Very simple calculation. At the end of how, cukup 1 tahun, the business should complete the following. Asset dia, nampak? Saya tak letak land, building, machinery semua kat sini, tak ada. Itu tak termasuk dalam amount yang kena zakat. Kita ambil yang productive asset je, cash. Cash in hand, cash in bank, inventories and also trade debtor. Nampak? Ini semua liquid asset yang kita boleh convert into cash. So business liability kita, trade creditor, hutang dengan creditor, operational debt, current unpaid tax kalau ada. So tambah all the payables ni, so A minus B must exceed nisab. Kalau less daripada nisab, then you don't have to pay zakat on business. Mesti lebih. So must exceed nisab, so whatever amount here, darablah dengan 2.5%. Okay, simple table macam ni pun will be used in the calculation of zakat for large multinational or listed corporation. Sebab kita hanya ambil the current portion sahaja. The fixed portion tu kita tak ambil.
Doktor,
Ya.
nak tanya Syak. Yang tadi kan, yang tadi tu kan zakat payable kan kena darab dengan 2.5% ataupun based on harga 85 gram. So macam mana?
Ni
macam,
nisab. 85 gram tu is the nisab dia. Nisab dia yang 85 gram. It is yang gold. Kan kita dapat amount kat sini. Amount ni kita compare dengan nisab. Dia bukan straight away C ni terus zakat. Tak. Nampak? Must exceed nisab. So dekat sini dah 85 gram gold tu. Okay, katakanlah C ni kita ambil 85 gram gold yang latest tadi 19,000 something tu kan. Katakan dekat sini dia dapat 20k. Lebih daripada nisab, kena bayar zakat lah. Tapi kalau dekat sini kira-kira dia dapat 15k je.
Tak payah.
Kurang daripada nisab kan, anda payah lah.
Okay, faham.
So nisab gold tu dekat sini tempat dia. Dia bukan kita terus kira dapat sini kita terus darab dengan 2.5 tak dia mesti compare dengan zakat. Dengan zakat pula, dengan nisab dekat sini. Okay. Macam sinilah. For example here kita ada Blue Shine Sdn Bhd. So paid zakat. Sekarang ni this company already paid zakat on business of 1250. Alright. Zakat ni if you remember konsep dia sama macam kita buat donation. Cannot be more than 2.5% of aggregate income. Ada pula rules dia. Kita kata business kena bayar zakat but you cannot simply pay whatever amount that you like. Tak boleh. Dia maximum 2.5% of aggregate income. So in this case, katakanlah this business, the statutory income is 50,000. Dia ada loss carry forward 10,000. So aggregate income dia 40,000. Okay, 40,000 ni zakat dia sepatutnya nak kena bayar is 2.5% daripada sini. Right? Which is 1,000. Tapi dia dah bayar berapa? 1250 lebih Macam kita kira donation kan. Donation yang dia dah bayar lebih tu kita tak boleh ambil semua. Kita kena ambil up to 2.5% sahaja. So here limited to 1,000 jadi 339,000 and then the this amount would be used to calculate tax pula. So kita ada allowable maximum zakat deduction is 1,000. So 250 ni dikira expenses je lah. Dia tak boleh tolak it is not allowed to be deducted. So only 2.5%, so limited lah. So if you get confused sampai kat sana, kenapa limited ni? Tengok balik chapter yang sebelum ni. So for zakat ni, memang limited to 2.5% from aggregate income ataupun total income. Okay, tak boleh lebih. Alah, dah ada jawapan dah pula kat sini. I share with you the ni yang ada jawapan dah. Alright, so the wealth below are subject to zakat on wealth, except, alright, kita ada agricultural product, kita ada land and building, gold and silver, savings and also shares. Right, so if you look at our calculation, land and building ni is not subject to zakat. Alright, untuk second question pun sama. If you look at here, Amira has 5 sets of gold rings, necklace and bracelet she wears whenever she attends function. So the keyword kat sini kita dah nampak dah. Bila dia kata pakai, itu adalah jewelry yang dia pakai. Kalau dia kata simpan, never wears once, itu akan dia jewelry not worn. So here adalah the weight is 220 grams. So the current price of gold is 132.5. The uruf for owing jewelry is 800 grams. How much zakat on gold that Amira has to pay for year 2017? Ni sebab saya dah circle jawapan. Kalau tak ada jawapan ni, ada juga nak kira ni. Sekarang here kita nak tengok satu. This is our keyword lah. Dia pakai. Alright. Bila dia pakai, apa yang kita perlukan information bila dia pakai ialah uruf. Alright. So here dia pakai. Dan uruf untuk negeri dia duduk ni is 800 grams. So whatever yang dia ada more than 800 grams sahaja is subject to zakat. Right? Ingat ini goal yang dia pakai. Yang kita pakai mesti lebih daripada uruf lah. Untuk states kecuali Kelantan. Right? Kelantan dia tak ada uruf ni. Dia tak ada customary limit ni. Pakailah berapa kilo pun. Asalkan pakai, tak dikira sebagai subject to zakat. So here sekarang ni dia cuma ada 220 grams. Uruf dia 800 grams. So dia tak perlu bayar apa-apa zakat. Okay. Nampak macam banyak juga 200 grams, 500 grams. Tapi still less than the uruf lah for that particular state. Alright, any question tak? Kita belum habis lagi zakat on wealth ni. Nanti dah habis the next part ni baru saya share the apa ni? I have that in the appendix. Dia punya summary dia. We have the summary. To help you untuk tengoklah macam mana kita nak kira tu sebenarnya. Alright, saya sambung terus lah. You all can see the zakat planning part 2 ni kan?
Nampak.
Alright. Okay, for this one, masih lagi zakat on wealth. Kalau ikutkan dekat sini, masih lagi zakat on wealth. Kita ada zakat on silver, on EPF, on mineral, and also zakat on income. Alright, ini kita simpan last kali zakat on income ni. And also impact of zakat on scheduler tax deduction lah. Alright, so since last week kita tengok zakat on gold. Kita tahu zakat on gold dia punya nisab is 85 gram. Only gold and silver is zakatable. Perak pula, gangster semua tu tak payah. All the bronze semua tu tak ada. Hanya gold and silver. So for silver ni berat dia mesti, the nisab would be 955 gram. Because silver is much cheaper than gold. So nampak lah nisab dia pun lebih tinggi lah. Alright, so the current silver value can be obtained from zakat institution website such as Lembaga Zakat Selangor. The rate of zakat on silver is again 2.5% juga. Okay, so the total zakat calculation would be total weight of silver multiplied by the value of silver and also 2.5%. Alright, so here for example, Puan Faizah has 200 grams silver jewelry. 1,000 gram silver bars and 100 gram silver coins that she has to pay zakat based on her collection. Okay. So yes, dia kena kira. Sebab kita tengok tadi, apa ni, nisab dia 595 gram. Okay, so sekarang ni dia punya barang dia banyak kan? 200 plus 1,000 plus 100, which is equivalent to 1,300 gram. And exceed the nisab for silver, which is 595. So kita assume the value of silver is 3 ringgit per gram. Nampak lagi murah banyak daripada gold So the total value of silver is 1,300 gram multiplied by 3 ringgit per gram. That would give us 3,900. So the zakat amount would be 2.5% from 3,900, which is 97 ringgit 50 cent. Sama je lah the calculation is the same, just that the nisab and also the price tu yang tak sama lah. Okay, zakat on EPF. Alright, ini especially for group yang buat assignment on EPF so you must know already lah what is EPF ni. So for EPF ni is compulsory saving scheme in Malaysia for private sector punya employee. And it is a measure for retirement planning lah. Alright, so the benefit is that the member can utilize part of their savings. Dia boleh withdraw, ada withdrawal scheme untuk EPF ni, boleh keluarkan. Tak adalah kita simpan, kita kata, oh ni duit kita kenapa kita tak boleh keluarkan so can withdraw. So here according to Fatwa Selangor, I highlighted two ni je lah, sebenarnya A dengan C ni lah yang B ni tak ada apa sangat pun. So the method of calculation for zakat on EPF is depending on EPF policy on the retirement age. So biasanya kita letak 55 lah. This is retirement age, mandatory retirement age, 55. Okay, so what happened is that when a person save money in EPF, ada dua scenario lah. Satu, before they reach the age of retirement, they want to withdraw the money. Right, so for example here, before 55 years old, masih lagi bekerja, have savings in EPF and want to withdraw some money. So money boleh withdraw untuk pergi sambung belajar, boleh buat renovate rumah, boleh so adalah you can withdraw ada certain purpose lah untuk withdraw. Even now pun under prihatin ni kan boleh withdraw awal juga kan, ada certain amount yang boleh withdraw dari EPF ni. Okay, so depending on the policy of the government. So here withdrawal ni, when you withdraw ni, withdrawal the purpose of investment in unit trust is not considered as complete withdrawal. Withdraw nak buat rumah contohnya. Alright, so the total withdrawal for the year tu plus net employment must exceed nisab. Nak kira EPF ni kena exceed nisab, tapi bukan amount yang kita withdraw je, kena tambah dengan net employment income dia lebih daripada nisab. Tapi nak kira zakat dia is actually on the total withdrawal sahajalah, times 2.5%. Macam konsep tabung haji tadi kan, kita nak kira nisab kita, kita masuk ke amount tabung haji tu, tapi when you want to pay the zakat, tabung haji amount tu kita keluarkan. Kita hanya bayar zakat untuk whatever amount of saving excluding our tabung haji. Sama macam ni lah. Total withdrawal plus our net employment income, exceed nisab tak? Kalau exceed, kena bayar zakat. Tapi yang ni tak, employment income ni pergi zakat kat cerita lain dia masuk dalam kategori zakat on employment. Now we are talking about zakat on EPF. So the total withdrawal times 2.5%. Alright, for example here, nisab for year 2017 is 15,000. So this person withdraw 20,000. Alright, so the zakat would be 20,000 times 2.5%, which is 500,000. Okay. What about when the person reach age 55, age the mandatory retirement age? Bila dia reach the mandatory retirement age ni, all savings in EPF is considered as full ownership. Okay, so bila full ownership, they withdraw duit tu, so this type of saving considered as normal. Zakat on money with the principle of last balance are the basis for calculation. Okay, so ini kalau dia withdraw lah, dah cukup tempoh, and then the person withdraw, dia kena bayar zakat based on the last balance for last year. Alright, so here 240,000 times 2.5% dapat 6,000. Katakanlah choose not to withdraw. biar je duit tu dalam EPF account pun boleh. Dah cukup 55, you don't want to withdraw, nak biar je lagi duit kat dalam tu. Okay. Bila biar duit kat situ, the house starts. Maksudnya when you keep the money dalam EPF tu, let's say you reach at the age of 55, dah retire, simpan lagi duit dalam tu sampai umur 56, 57, duit masih lagi ada dalam EPF. In that case, itu dah dikira sebagai zakat on money. You save zakat, you save money in EPF accounts. So macam tadilah kita ambil total savings times 2.5%. Okay. Alright, issues on zakat ni, especially on dividend. So dividend, Fatwa Selangor kata dividend dia pure and need not to be cleansed. So dividend get from EPF ni tak perlu bayar zakat. Alright, next we have zakat on mineral, Ma'din and Buried treasure ni. Tapi saya nak fokus dekat ayat yang last ni je. Neither zakat on minerals nor zakat on buried treasure ever collected by religious authority in Malaysia. So tak ada. But I think by now pun you all dah tahu kan what is zakat on mineral. So whatever extracted from the earth lah, fuel, gas, coal, copper, silver. Kita cuma zakat on gold and also silver je. Okay, last one would be zakat on income. Okay, zakat on income ni calculation dia ala-ala tax, tapi lain sikit. Because the amount tu different. Okay, so type of income subject to zakat. Whenever we use our employment income section 4B tu, dalam tu ada semualah. Salary allowance, bonus, overtime claim, gratuity, award, ESOS, EPF withdrawal, and also any other income related to employment. Itu number one. Number two, income from undertaking tasks or rendering professional services. So if you are a freelancer, tadi ni kita nampak, okay, dia dapat gaji kan, salary, gratuity ni semua kalau bergaji. For a freelancer, sama juga, income derived from other than employment in nature, professional service, profit from seasonal business, commission and residual income, royalty commission, personal drawing and other any income derived from professional or freelance activity. Okay, ini pun termasuk dalam amount yang kena bayar zakat ataupun employment income. Income derived from mustaghalat. Okay, this is rental income. Right, kita buat tax, kita ada rental income. Section 4D ni, so rental income ni termasuk dalam income derived from rental. Sources of fixed assets such as land, building, houses. Nampak tak? Dia tak termasuk dalam zakat on wealth tadi. Land, building, so tak termasuk kena bayar zakat. Tapi if you own that asset and you rent, dapat income dalam bentuk rental income, itu kena zakat. Right? So rental income from estate investment, rental service, rent asset, apa semua ni, agricultural income, income from dairy cattle and milk production. Tapi the actual cost of maintaining the sources ni, such as quick rent assessment, maintenance, can be deducted against the revenue before calculating the zakat. Nampak? Konsep dia macam kita buat rental income lah. Kita ada allowable expenses, so that can be deducted. Number 4, these are the 4 types of income yang kena zakat. Number 4 is gift. Income received by someone not in exchange or any effort or services. So dapat hadiah dalam bentuk duit ke, especially duit lah is actually subject to zakat juga. Okay, how do we compute employment income? Right, if you remember masa kita buat tax tu, in order for us to calculate chargeable income, kita totalkan semua jenis income yang dia ada kan. Business income, employment income, rental income, all the dividend interest apa semua tu. Dan kita akan tolak personal relief. Okay, konsep personal relief tu sama macam dekat sini lah. When we call it under zakat calculation, kita kata had kifayah, level of sufficiency. Okay, so there are 2 methods to calculate zakat on employment income. Number 1, approach 1, straightforward je. You just take the gross income for that respective year without any deduction whatsoever. Darab terus dengan 2.5%. That is method number 1. But what we practice in Malaysia, kebanyakan state menggunakan approach number 2. Okay. Yang ni akan nampak zakat jadi banyak lah because you just ambil gross income kan, whatever amount that you earn, itulah yang kena bayar zakat. Kita tak ada tolak apa yang kita belanja pun, which is tak ada deduction lah. But for approach 2 ni, most state guna yang ni. Kita ambil amount chargeable to zakat ni after deducting, kita kata allowable expenses. So allowable expenses ni apa? Okay, this is actually decision made by the respective state Islamic Religious Council. Lain state, lain amount dia. So untuk Selangor, contohnya, ini not only Selangor lah, Selangor, Perak, Kedah semua ada level of sufficiency dia panggil, or had al-kifayah. Alright, and had kifayah ni juga is actually being used to determine the poor and hardcore poor. Remember kita kata kita ada conditions kan, or the beneficiary of zakat ni, poor and hardcore poor tu, fakir and miskin tu. Okay, so this is how the state calculate the had kifayah. Right, so kita tengok macam mana dikira sebenarnya. Alright, so again, this is regarding, so table ni hanya untuk employment, zakat on employment income. Ada 4 jenis income that you can get. Employment income, salary apa semua tu, non-employment income ataupun as a freelancer, income from mustaqillah asset, rental income, and also gift or donation. And then kita dah total all the income ni, kita kena determine the had kifayah pula and other relevant deduction. So ada lebih, A minus B ada lebih. Lebih tu mesti must meet the nisab. Okay, and then multiply by 2.5%. Alright. What are the deductible expenses under zakat calculation ni? Again, when we talk about had kifayah, we are talking about limit of sufficiencies. Ada 6 item dalam limit of sufficiencies ni. Maksudnya ini macam keperluan lah. In other words, kita kata when you compare keperluan and kehendak kan. So these are keperluan. So ada 6 items which are home, food, clothing, education, medical expenses and transportation. Nampak dia dah bukan makan rumah baju je kan. Kalau dulu itu je. So now kita ada 6 items which include education, medical expenses and also transportation. So in principle, zakat on income is imposed on income after sufficiency limit. So sufficiency limit ni maksudnya, okay, yes, we have income. Tapi income tu kita bukan guna semua. Income tu kita still guna untuk expenditure, untuk expenses kan. So this is actually amount, I think from Selangor yang ni. Nanti saya tunjukkan different state punya pula. So deductible expenses is, alright, kalau taxation personal relief, kita ada personal relief kan 9,000. Kita ada wife relief kalau ada combined assessment. So here, nak kira had kifayah ni, head of household, kita dah tolak 10,750. Kalau ada working adult together, for example the spouse lah kalau ada, so tolak 5,000 lagi. Ada non-working adult above 18 years old, so you all yang duduk dekat rumah dengan mak ayah ni, let's say ada 3 beradik, tiga-tiga tak kerja contohnya, above 18 tapi tak kerja, ni termasuk sebabnya itu dikira tanggungan ibu ayah lagi lah. Children in IPT, so macam you all lah, adik-beradik ada 3 orang dekat IPT contohnya. So 2008 seorang darab 3. Dia macam kita kira relief lah, satu anak 2,000 darab lah dengan berapa anak yang ada kan. But amount untuk zakat ni, untuk had kifayah ni dia lain sikit, amount dia lagi tinggi daripada tax relief kita. School children, okay, ada anak yang bersekolah, satu anak 2,200. Below 7 years old, satu anak 1,450. Additional deduction if let's say they are handicapped family member, dapat additional 2,400. Anak ni hantar pergi childcare, dapat 2,300. Medical cost for chronic disease, 2,400. So these are, in other words, relief lah, relief in calculating our zakat. Tapi dia tak kata relief lah, dia kata had al-kifayah. These are the amount yang ada. Okay, this is the one that I share. This is actually from Lembaga Zakat Selangor. Macam mana nak kira, macam mana nak kira. So ini gaji lah, dia ada 4 kategori tadi gaji, salary, freelance, mustaqillah, rental tu dengan hadiah kalau ada. So ini had kifayah isi rumah. Alright, had kifayah berkaitan jika ada, yang tadilah kalau ada handicap semua tu kan, so itu dikira had kifayah tambahan. A minus B plus C. So A adalah pendapatan dia, B plus C. Kalau ada, and then here baru kita tolak simpanan tabung haji. Nampak nak kira nisab, dia masih lagi masuk tabung haji. So tabung haji dah dibayar zakat. So this is the amount of zakat setahun. So ini semua dah dikira dalam formula dah. You don't have to fikir berapa nisab, also tak payah fikir. Key in je. Okay, ini contoh had kifayah negeri Selangor. Sebulan. Ini nak kira sebulan Some state dia letak setahun terus. Selangor dia letak sebulan. Ini nak kira poor and hardcore poor pun boleh. Nak kira berapa banyak zakat kita nak bayar pun, kita still follow this had kifayah. So contohnya sebulan dapat 10,000. Tolaklah. Ketua keluarga 1078. Ketua rumah, okey. Dewasa 18 tahun ke atas bekerja. Katakanlah kat rumah you tak ada dewasa 18 tahun ke atas yang bekerja. Tak adalah. Kalau ada, darablah 404 dengan berapa orang yang ada tu 18 tahun ke atas tidak bekerja. Yang ni kerja, yang ni tak bekerja. Darablah dengan berapa orang yang ada. Let's say ada abang yang tak kerja contohnya kan. So darablah dengan satu. Anak belajar di IPT, okey. Your parents ada 4 anak. 4 anak ada dekat IPT. 592 darab 4. Ni sebulan Nampak tak berapa banyak belanja dia tu. Anak sekolah 17 tahun. Anak tidak bersekolah bawah 16 tahun. This is actually, you can gauge lah. This is actually expenses that your parents have to incur untuk setiap anak tu. Ini mengikut Selangor lah. Dia lain state, lain amount dia. So ada jumlah A. Tambahan kalau ada anak OKU. Ada hantar anak pergi nursery. Ada sakit kronik. Okay, so dapatlah jumlah had kifayah. Macam mana nak kira had, macam mana nak kira nak kena bayar ataupun zakat ataupun tidak? Pendapatan tolaklah dengan had kifayah ni. Okay, ini juga macam saya kata tadi lah. This is actually to determine the hardcore poor and also poor juga. So kalau yang hardcore poor tu kadang-kadang dekat sini negatif Maknanya belanja dia tu sepatutnya lagi, the amount ni tak semestinya dia incur tau. Macam relief kan, contoh kita ada lifestyle relief. Okay, you beli barang RM1,000, mesti ada receipt. Yang ni tak perlu. Ni semua tak payah receipt, tak payah apa. Dia automatik je dikira sebagai had kifayah. Ada je anak dekat IPT, automatik kita masuk 592. Tak perlu receipt, tak perlu bukti, tak perlu apa pun. And, okay, ini harga dia. Macam saya kata tadi, not necessarily orang ni bayar pun semua ni. Tapi ini cara kita nak kira sepatutnya dia, kita kata, this is what they should incur. What they should spend or what they actually spend. So ini amount based on Selangor punya. Okay, let me share with you Perak punya. Okay, nampak saya punya slide Okay, contoh kita ada zakat calculation. But had kifayah tadi hanya ada dekat zakat pendapatan tau. Zakat simpanan, perniagaan, kredit SP, saham, emas, perak, tak ada had kifayah tadi. You ada emas, you kaya ke miskin ke, bayar zakat. Ada saham, kaya ke miskin ke, bayar zakat. Pendapatan, yes, nama dia zakat on income kan. So untuk zakat pendapatan, sinilah. This is had kifayah for negeri Perak. Perak dia canggih sikit kan, dia Majlis Agama Islam dan Adat Melayu Perak nama dia. So, dia kira setahun. Nak kira zakat pendapatan, kita ikut had kifayah. Because kita tahu duit daripada emas tu kita bukan jual emas setiap hari kan. Kita bukan pergi simpan dan jual dan dapat duit at the same time. For zakat pendapatan, yes, kita by right, whatever you get the income tu lah yang you used to spend for your lifestyle dan sebagainya. Alright, so for Perak, okay, dia bagi kita satu figure untuk setahun. So isilah kat sini gaji pokok elang apa semua ni okey, perbelanjaan yang dibenarkan. Nampak dia dah automatik masuk dah. 10,800 dalam ni. Setahun. Which is lower than Selangor tadi isteri 5,000. Bilangan isteri isteri 3 darablah dengan 3. Anak di bawah, let's say kita letak dekat sini. Ini boleh isi ni let's say saya letak dekat sini 150,000. Okay, so seorang ketua keluarga, katakanlah wife dia ada 2. Jalan ni. Tak lagi dia keluar kot. Anak bawah tanggungan 2,300 seorang. Nampak? Dia tak letak umur dekat sini. Untuk Perak kalau tadi Selangor dia ada kan 7-17 berapa ringgit, bawah 7 tahun berapa ringgit. For Perak tak ada. Satu anak je dia terus bagi 2,300, let's say letak 3. Anak di IPT 2,800 seorang, katakan ada satu anak dekat IPT. Pembayaran kepada ibu bapa 3,000 setahun, let's say bayarlah 2,500 katakan. Okay, rawatan sekaligus 500. Kalau ada medical expenses. Potongan sebenar WSP tak ada, pendapatan bersih. Nampak nisab semasa pun dah masuk dah. This is for Perak. So nisab semasa, like I told you, you don't have to figure out berapa banyak nisab sekarang ni. So if you look at this table, sama macam tadi table zakat on money tadi tu, nisab semasa dia is 19,803.92, which is equivalent to 85 gram of gold. Right? So kira zakat. Tekan je kira terus keluar. Ini kewajipan zakat, tolak caruman ke tabung haji setahun. Kata kalau ada caruman tabung haji setahun, apa nak letak? 2,400. Okay, kira balik. Ini 119,100 untuk orang ni punya pendapatan lah. Kalau setahun 150,000 So, ini jumlah zakat yang dia kena bayar. Kalau nak potong setiap bulan, ini amount dia. Nak bayar potongan gaji boleh, FPX pun boleh. Katakan nak pilih, katakan saya baru kira okey, saya tak tolak gaji untuk bayar zakat pendapatan. Zakat wajib dibayar, nampak hijau lagi dia bagi tahu. Melebihi nisab 19,803. Sila datang ke Mahkamah Islam untuk menunaikan kewajipan anda atau boleh mengisi borang kebenaran membuat potongan gaji bulanan sebanyak 24812 sebulan. Dia dah kirakan dah untuk kita. Tekan je kalkulator ni Saya susah fikir. But you need to know at this point, you need to know lah benda hak kifayah ni kan. Nanti kan you want to explain to your client nanti, hak kifayah pun tak tahu benda So, but easier if you know how to use this. So, key-in je. Pap, terus dapat 248.42. Katakanlah nak bayar FPX. Dah, terus pergi je. Isilah. Nak bayar guna internet banking. Very easy So there is no reason for us not to pay lah sebenarnya Ini ialah Perak This is Selangor. Okay, Selangor kita pergi tengok zakat pendapatan juga. Okay. Ini macam tadi lah. Katakan pendapatan dia tahunan juga kat sini 150,000. Had kifayah dia. Nampak? Tadi Perak 10,000 je, Selangor 12,000. Nampak? Lain state, lain amount dia. So ni consider sebagai bandar kan. So kawasan city, harga dia lagi tinggi lah. Dewasa bekerja, okay, katakan the spouse ada seorang. Tidak bekerja, okay, tak ada. Belajar IPT 7,000. Tadi kalau Perak tadi tak ada Perak tadi berapa ribu je, 2,000 Perak tadi kalau anak dekat IPT berapa? 2,800 je. Tapi Selangor bagi 7,100. So let's say ada dua anak dekat IPT. Okay, anak 17 tahun. Okay, satu katakan. 6 tahun ke bawah ada satu. Nampak dia dah kira untuk kita. Hak kifayah tambahan kalau ada. Anak OKU katakan ada satu. Isi je lah Sakit kulit tak ada. Ada anak tadi satu. Kos penjagaan anak ada satu tadi. Tolakan lain tak ada. Simpanan tabung haji tadi 2,400 katakan. Ni zakat setahun. Dia terus kira dah. Dia tak nampak nisab so kat sini tak ada. Dia terus kira kalkulator dia je. So jumlah zakat anda setahun 2,592 contohnya. Bayar zakat. Ni Selangor Easy pay. Isi lah nama seterusnya. Easy peasy.
Betul. Kalau macam kadang kan macam ada certain company like macam zakat dia macam dia dah tolak siap-siap kan. Lepas tu maksudnya kita ni sebenarnya kena bayar itu zakat income lah kan. Maksudnya zakat yang lain kita still kena bayar lah kan gitu.
Ya, betul. So dia kata so ini if you go to websites, ini contoh Perak tadi lah. Ini semua kita belajar kan. Kita ada zakat tak semestinya pendapatan je. Pendapatan you dapat gaji. Itu zakat pendapatan. Ada simpan duit dekat bank. Itu zakat simpanan. Ada bisnes. Zakat perniagaan. Ada EPF. Zakat EPF. Ada beli shares. Zakat shares. Ada simpan emas dan perak. Zakat emas dan perak. So ini biasanya I think the awareness tu mungkin kurang lah kot because most of people yang memang kerja, dia nampak ini je. Dia nampak zakat pendapatan je. Yang ni semua ni macam buat tak tahu je. But this is actually also zakat on wealth. That is why we need people like you untuk explain to your potential clients nanti, especially yang sometimes tu dia bukan ignorant, sometimes tu dia tak tahu, they don't know that kita kena bayar, lain state lain, they don't know. But in this case, since you all know, so these are the type of zakat on wealth yang dibayar di Malaysia. Other country might be different, kalau you check dengan Arab Saudi mungkin lain. But in Malaysia, these are the zakat yang Malaysia collect, right? So for zakat pendapatan ni memang this is very clear cut sebab most of the company dia memang tolak dari gaji. Yang lain ni tak ada, yang ni sendiri mau ingat. Balik buka lah almari, timbang lah berapa kilo emas ada, berapa banyak saham beli. So mak ayah ada KWSP yang belum retire, pernah bawa keluar duit tak? Or if you have business, or if you have money saving in bank kan, duit setiap bulan masuk je tapi tak keluar-keluar. So itu considered as zakat on money. Alright, so this is an exposure to you in order, especially lah sebab kita nampak, if you look at in the future, so this is how you can educate your potential clients nanti that okay, these are also because ini semua termasuk dalam zakat planning untuk dia kira lah zakat dia, cuma untuk zakat pendapatan ni yang masuk dalam dalam calculation apa ni untuk zakat untuk tax hanya ada zakat fitrah dan ada religious due. So kalau semua ni dia tahu, then dia boleh masukkan lah untuk tolak the calculation of income tax dia. Okay, back to our slide. Any question tak?
Tak ada.
Ada. Alright, so again, whatever zakat ni mesti ada certain issues. So first of all, for zakat on income ni, zakat assessment for husband and wife. Alright, if you remember for tax, kita ada joint assessment and also separate assessment. So boleh pilih kan nak joint or separate assessment, but for zakat tak ada. As long as you have income, zakat should be made separately between husband and wife. Tak boleh zakat husband campur dengan wife dia lah. Tak ada seorang satu. Asalkan ada income, then kena bayar based on income sendiri. What about relief for children and parents? Ini macam tax jugalah. Either husband or wife is entitled for child relief. Macam tadi kira had kifayah kan? Kata saya kerja, husband saya pun kerja, nak kira had kifayah tu. Tapi ini untuk relief lah. So contribution to parents, okay, up to the sufficiency limit under non-working category. Ini pun 2004 ni, this is not a standardized rate. Ini datang dari Selangor tadi. Deposit in tabung haji. Alright, so again, deposit in tabung haji ni will be considered before nisab assessment. So kalau net income before tabung haji deduction is more than nisab, total income is zakatable. Right, maknanya kita dah ada duit, dalam duit kita tu kita tolak lagi dekat tabung haji. So kalau net income sebelum tolak tabung haji tu pun dah more than nisab, income tu zakatable. What about personal drawing by sole proprietor? Okay, ada business, so ada juga withdraw. Personal kita kata businessman, dia withdraw mortgage payment apa semua ni. Okay, alright. So relationship between zakat and tax for individuals in Malaysia. So for Muslim, we have to make 2 compulsory payments on the same source of income. So nampak macam same source lah sebab kita ada tax on employment income, kita ada zakat on employment income. Kena bayar 2 kali. So zakat is obligatory on the Muslim while income tax is a civil obligation as a Malaysian citizen. So you cannot say, saya dah bayar zakat untuk gaji saya tak payah bayar tax. Tak boleh lah macam tu. Satu obligation as a Muslim, satu obligation as a Malaysian citizen. Alright, entitlement for rebate. Yang ni pun kita dah tengok before. Alright, so what we have here is that we know amount of zakat paid is entitled to be claimed as rebate pursuant to Section 6A of the Income Tax Act. So rebate shall be granted for a year of assessment for any zakat, fitrah or any other Islamic religious due payment. Which is obligatory and which are paid in the basis year for that year of assessment to and evidenced by a receipt issued by appropriate religious authority established under any written law. This is also one of the ways for tax planning. Nampak? Dia rebate kan? So if you pay zakat fitrah, pay zakat on kita kata income so itu akan reduce ataupun kita termasuk dalam calculation of income tax lah. Any payment which is related to Islamic religious due is also entitled for rebates under the same section. However, if the amount of zakat paid is more than the final tax due, no refund will be granted by the IRB. So the way calculation of tax and zakat is done is actually untuk setiap bulan tu dia ada table tau. You boleh like what we practice here in UPSR ni, dia ada amount that tax is calculated based on gaji yang dapat. Zakat ni kita kena kira sendiri based on had kifayah tadi. So zakat saya dengan maybe zakat lecturer lain tak sama. Sebab had kifayah tak sama. Mungkin yang mana lecturer yang dah ada anak dekat IPT tu lain lah had kifayah dia kan. Anak saya sekolah lagi. So lain dia had kifayah tu. Tapi income tax ni kalau gaji saya dengan gaji dia sama, so income tax kami akan jadi sama. Zakat tu yang tak sama. So boleh pilihlah dalam sebulan tu berapa banyak nak tolak untuk tax, berapa banyak nak tolak untuk zakat. So dia akan combine the amount. Nanti saya tunjukkan the table ada. This is the rumusan dia. Kalau tengok Ini contoh apa yang dibayar kalau bayar tax lah So jumlah pendapatan, tolak pelepasan relief atas kadar 21%, alright. So this is the jumlah cukai pendapatan 8,768 untuk setahun tolak rebate. Rebate dekat sini ada zakat and fitrah. 1440. Ini kita key in earlier dalam website ni masa kita nak isi e-filing, ini kita key in earlier. So ini dah summary je lah, nama perumusan kan. Saya just screenshot the summary je tunjuk. Jumlah cukai dikenakan 7328, nampak? Patutnya yang ni kan 8768, tapi sebab dah bayar zakat, tolak lah rebate tinggal 7328. Yang lain tak ada. Katakanlah ini 8470 ni yang telah dibayar. Nampak tak? Dah bayar 8768 sepatutnya bayar 8470 sahaja. So ada lebihan bayaran 1141. So refund ni dapat lah. Untuk rebate ni tak ada refund So zakat payment is not refundable. Dia tak macam tax kan. Tax ni dia ada tax refund kan. Ayat dia lagi yang best tengok. Lebihan bayaran. Ini yang paling happy semua orang tengok lah. Maknanya you dah bayar extra tax, so dapat balik refund. So zakat payment is not refundable. Okay, self-assessment ni nanti sekejap. Show you the appendix sekejap Okay. So, dia agak kecil sikit lah Okay, so what I have here, this one already shared with you in my group. Okay. So I shared with you dalam portal, you can check this is under appendix zakat. So alright, so these are the zakat pendapatan berasaskan nisab emas. Alright, so our employment income pun tadi yang nisab tadi tu, the amount of nisab is actually based on 85 gram of gold So harta penggajian ni semualah hasil bersih kerja bebas yang 4 jenis tadi kan. Salary ataupun kita kata salary gratuity semua, and then freelancer, and then sewaan, and then hadiah So jumlah keseluruhan pendapatan. So inilah pendapatan tolak had kifayah. Kalau income tax kita tolak personal relief So here kita tolak had kifayah. Ini dari Selangor So amount ni lain sikit lah diri, isteri, like I said before the bilangan ni bergantung kepada berapa orang yang ada. Saya tak ada maksimum Let's say you ada 3 anak kat sini, so 2,300 taraf dengan 3. So this would be the total kat sebelah sini. Alright. Had kifayah tambahan, sufficiency additional, tolakkan lain kalau ada, Ada adjustment kalau ada. So this is jumlah wajib zakat C minus D. So kalau ikutkan C minus D ni amount dekat sini mesti lebih dari nisab. Okay, nisab tak masuk dalam ni lah. But here the nisab ni macam tadi the one that I show you dalam zakat calculator tu semua tu dah termasuk dah dekat dalam tu. But here in our calculation ni once you dapat jumlah pendapatan wajib zakat ni, amount ni we have to compare with nisab which is 85 gram of gold. Kalau lebih dari nisab, darablah 2.5%. Okay, so next one, what we have here, this is the summary of zakat on wealth. Ini yang saya kata tadi lah, so this will help you determine, yang ni wealth ni berapa dia punya base dia, adakah dia guna gold, adakah dia guna livestock. So for example, agriculture. So in Malaysia kita ada padi je, alright. So this is the nisab untuk padi. So kat sini adalah ada rate and also the nisab. So I hope this will help you in your calculation nanti. Livestock, okay, ada goat, cow and camel. So adalah untuk goat 40, untuk cow 30, camel 5. So this is the summary. Ini semua dah ada dalam notes dah. So I just summarize here. Gold, right? Gold ada dua, won and not won. Okay, won not won. So kalau won mesti lebih customary limit. So 800 gold ni again this is from Selangor. So the different weight times dengan current value darab dengan 2.5%. Kalau not won, current value darab dengan total weight which is 85 gram juga dekat sini. So nampak semua ni gold, money, shares and takaful ni semua ni same type. These four needs to be combined for nisab fulfillment. Tak boleh kira satu-satu. Combine dulu semua ni. Kalau lebih dari nisab which is 85 gram of gold baru kena bayar zakat. Okay, janganlah pula pergi kira satu-satu. Kira satu, oh dah lebih bayar. Oh dah lebih bayar. Oh dah lebih bayar. Nanti jadi banyak lah. So totalkan dulu. Totalkan and compare with the nisab amount. Sama juga dengan takaful. So takaful dia ada income derived ataupun savings. Ada business. Silver. 595, nampak? Kalau business pun ikut value of 85 gram. Kalau EPF combine with zakat on income. Kalau lebih dari 55 years old, kita guna gold nisab. Ini beza EPF tadi. Kalau sebelum 55, you keluarkan duit dari EPF ni, kena combine with zakat on income. Duduk dekat atas tadi. EPF withdrawal dia panggil. Tapi EPF yang withdraw bila dah retire, kita combine dengan gold nisab. Kat atas ni lah. So I think the explanation is enough to explain to you which is which. So finally we have nisab emas. Ini ialah harta lah, wealth based on gold nisab. So but it is in Malay lah. Saya ambil dari lembaga zakat punya definition. So emas, won and not won, perhiasan ataupun tidak, wang simpanan. So again, summary ni bawa ke atas tadi lah. Alright. So ini pun dah ada dalam portal so you can check. So let's go back to our slide tadi. I have two questions here. Cuba jawab. Wrong statement regarding zakat on silver. Alright, which one is wrong? A, B, C or D?
Sekejap.
Wrong bukan yang betul, yang salah.
C. C ke?
D.
D. Dot
Dia
D.
tahu D. C kan?
D.
Wrong.
C.
Which one is the wrong one?
D. Donkey.
Wrong statement.
D.
Silver, okay. Obligation of zakat on silver confirm. Okay, yeah, betul So
Betul.
beside gold, silver is another form of money that is subject to zakat obligation. Betul. One of the precious metal and wearing silver ornaments or keeping silver bars and silver coin becoming more and more popular. Betul lah juga kan? So the wrong answer is D. Zakat on silver, dia tak ada kategori jewelry and non-jewelry. Zakat on silver dia satu kategori je. Kalau gold, yes. Gold ada pakai dengan tak pakai. Silver tak ada. Pakai ke tak pakai ke, dia sama juga. Nisab mestilah 595 gram. Number 2, which of the following are considered as zakatable income? Ni semua
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer is C. Ada soalan tak? Any question? I have prepared a quiz for you tapi saya kena cepatkan sikit kot. I think I schedule at 10:30. Sekarang baru pukul 10 You nak buat sekarang ke? Nak buat sekarang saya tukar time. But you have until 1 untuk buat. Dadah. Let me see. Apa lagi ada? Tak ada dah. Alright, so we completed Zakat and Tax planning for 2 weeks last week and also this week. So kita dah cover the different types of zakat and also zakat on wealth. And macam like last week kita dah tengok the conditions of paying zakat, the beneficiary of zakat. And then untuk for today, I think the summary table too will be very helpful for you because you can see the different types of wealth and also the different types of nisab and also calculation dia. So for next week kita ada lagi satu topik je tinggal tax administration and planning. But last night I've gone through your assignments juga, tapi untuk group ni saya belum, untuk you all saya ada tengok a few videos and also report already so some is very good the report video pun not bad. And my concern is that satu je, bila I check the attendance untuk hari ni, saya tak check lagi. Ramai, I think for this group ada 3 ataupun 4 yang keep missing the class I kalau boleh tak nak bar lah, but I need to know some not only missing the class, tutorial quizzes tak pernah buat. So if that is you yang saya tengah cakap ni, because I have check the tutorial hantar ataupun tak, the quizzes, orang yang sama je yang tak buat, and classes orang yang sama juga yang tak datang and if kita memang kelas face to face memang dah kena bar lah. Ini sebab I don't see you and I tak ada dapat any feedback or information where you are and what is your problem for not answering the quizzes and also midterm buat tapi quiz dengan tutorial tak pernah buat. And also the marks for midterm and quizzes, quiz dah memang tak pernah buat, memang tak ada markah langsung lah 0 and quiz would be 20%. So the assessment untuk subjek ni very simple. 20% quiz, 20% midterm, 20% assignment. So those of you yang tak pernah langsung ambil quiz ataupun quiz ada 6 tapi hanya buat 1 je, nanti by end of the semester dah habis final exam, do not come and beg me kata lemak doktor tolonglah bagi no. I have no news from you that you cannot do the quiz, tak ada bagi tahu saya apa-apa. So I assume you memang sengaja tak buat, or I don't know what is your problem or what is your reasons for not doing that, because that is counted in the assessment. So assessment kita sangat simple and like I said, kita tak ada yang complicated pun. I give you 20 assignment, 20 midterm, 20 quizzes and tutorial, 40% final exam. So jadual final exam kita tengah prepare, maybe by next week insyaAllah kita akan bagi the draft so that you can look at your jadual. And I know all of you in semester 6 you are taking kebanyakannya subject major, so it's very hard juga untuk kita tengoklah your exam schedule tu. But anyway, if you think I'm talking about you yang memang kelas pun orang yang sama je, saya tak ada nak name and shame. I have the names, but because I don't know, so hari ni ada ke tak pun watak-watak yang saya sebut ni. So if you think that is you yang tak masuk kelas, yang tak buat quiz, so please you know where to find me. You have my number. At least you let me know what is wrong, what's going on. Sebab kalau tengok untuk for your attendance, kelas kita 3 hours. So the system tu, once I click the button, you tak datang kelas je, automatically you will get a first warning letter. Sekali tak datang memang akan keluar first warning letter lah, because satu kelas 3 jam. 3 jam dah dikira absent untuk 3 jam. So 2 kali absent dah dikira 6 jam. So 3 kali absent dah dikira 9 jam. So 9 out of 42 hours. Kita satu semester ada 42 jam je. So 9 out of 42 hours, I can bar you from final exam. So bila I bar, this is your major subject, exemption subject from MFPC. So if you fail this paper, memang kena ulang balik, no choice. And then nak ulang balik pun next semester tak offer. So by now semester 6, you tahu kan tak semua subjek kita offer tiap semester. So if you miss it, then kena tunggulah tahun depan pula. So ada dominus effectnya. Not only you have to pass lah, pass means minimum MMPC bagi is C lah, but takkanlah subjek yang exemption ni dapat C kan. So please those of you yang memang selalu, yang tak pernah miss class, well done, very good. Memang yang ada yang saya isi memang attendance memang sentiasa full. Whatever I give tutorial, quizzes semua memang sentiasa buat. So yeah, well done to you. Kita tak penallah semua kan, yang mana tak datang itu je lah. My concern is that I don't know what is your problem. You tak bagi tahu saya what problem, you tak ada internet ke, you tak boleh access soalan ke, tak boleh buka Google Classroom ke, you know. If you don't tell me, I don't know. Itu masalahnya. Kalau you bagi tahu, then saya tahu. You don't tell me, I don't know. Midterm saya tengok buat quizzes tak buat. And quizzes tu saya bagi bukan waktu lain pun, saya bagi during class kan. So my time for this class is actually until 11. So I still have my time untuk you buat whatever quizzes. Saya tak adalah bagi buat hari lain, waktu lain waktu malam ke apa ke, tak ada, jarang sangat unless kita ada problem je hari tu kan. So cukuplah kot sesi berbelan untuk hari ni So please be careful with your attendance I just from one button away je untuk click bar tu. So once you get a bar from this subject automatic and F no mercy punya. Bar is automatic F. So F means you have to repeat lah. So sia-sia je kan, dah 11 minggu, 12 minggu dah attend the class tapi kejap datang, kejap tak datang So because you're not in semester 1, kalau semester 1, semester 2 boleh consider lagi lah Now dah semester 6, you should know what you should do. If you have problem or anything, you should come and talk to me. Bukan duduk senyap-senyap If you duduk senyap-senyap, I don't know, saya tak ada psychic punya power nak tahu, oh yang ni tak datang kelas sebab dia tak ada internet ni, oh ni tak datang kelas sebab dia oh ni tak jawab quiz ni sebab dia lupa ni. I don't know, you don't tell me, I don't know. Alright, so I will see you next week for our last topic. So I think next week will be our last class lah, week 14 tak ada kelas lah. So we have 2 weeks untuk study because I think this paper would be dalam first week of exam week kot. Alright, so nanti maybe next week if you have time, we will discuss about our final exam that would be 40% of the assessment. So for your midterm exam, saya dah bagi tahu last week ada markah yang saya update. So those of you yang markah dia sama tu, which means you tak ada apa-apa perubahan lah Yang saya update tu because of 2 questions saya wrongly letak the marks, the correct answer tu saya salah letak. So you jawab jawapan yang betul tapi you still get wrong So bila saya betulkan jawapan tu, automatically you get the new marks lah. So saya dah update. So some yang mana 2 soalan tu dia betul tapi saya salahkan, so ada increase 4 marks kat situ banyak lah. Alright, so I will update you the time for the quiz I think saya letak pukul 10.30 ni, saya awalkan, saya buat sekarang So you have until 1 to complete. That will be your last quiz. Tak ada quiz dah lepas ni. Your last chance untuk yang tak pernah jawab quiz tu, this will be your last chance lah, no more quiz lepas ni. Alright, so thank you very much. Saya nak kena pergi join training dah ni, pukul 10 lebih lah. I will see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you,
Prof. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Prof.
Alright.